Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 revised order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 38, Section 18, meetings of the Berkshire Hills Regional School District School Committee will be conducted both in person and remote from March 31st, 2025. Agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed. Items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting is being recorded by CTSB and the school committee recorder. It is also being recorded by Berkshire Eagle, Berkshire Edge, and other members of the public. So we'll start out with a roll call. Bill Vogt.
Present.
Ian Hutchinson, I do not believe is here. Jason St. Peter.
Here.
Bonnie Buffoni.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Bill.
Here.
Diane.
Here.
Lori.
Here.
Rich.
Here.
And present. We have we were sent the minutes of September 7th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I have one correction.
Yes, please.
So Sarah was present virtually, but not marked present, so I recommend we move her from absent to present. Yes.
And Bonnie, were you present at that meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so Bonnie, both of them were
Do we usually include the students?
No.
Okay.
It may be a good help.
No, we can add the students, so it was just Mia, right?
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay. Now do I have a motion?
So,
Do I have a second? Second. So I have a motion by Bill, second by Rich. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Bill.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Bill.
yes.
Diane.
Yes.
Lori.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous. Right into the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'm gonna start with a couple things. We don't have, to my knowledge, any student members here tonight. We know last meeting we had some issues with sound quality with the owls, and we swapped one out. We're talking with the Owl Corporation and trying to get a replacement one, and we're not using their extended microphone that may have been part of the problem. So hopefully our sound quality will be better tonight, and we're still working on it. The one thing I'll ask when people in the second row want to speak, just come up to the table, either close to this owl or close to this owl, so folks can hear you. Great.
It is a recording. Let's see. No, that's usually it says recording on it.
It does say recording, yeah.
That's not mine. Okay. Good.
Okay, good. So, and then just one other thing, the MCAS data is now public. It was released on Tuesday morning at noon. We've obviously been looking at it internally as an administrative team, but we made a decision to not present it tonight, but to present it in 2 weeks. So we've got more time to actually analyze it. And up until Tuesday, we had access to our own data, but we didn't have access to our data in relation to the state nor to our neighboring districts. So now that we have that access, we're all working through it. When we do that presentation on the 5th, just to preview it, we will talk about accountability. And from an accountability perspective, our house is totally in order. And that's not always been the case for this district, or for that matter, many districts. So that's a nice thing. And then we'll look at both MCAS achievement and growth, and share some details there. There's a nice trend, like something has happened for 2 times for it to be a trend. But our high school biology scores continue to be quite high, so I'm foreshadowing that. That's a nice indication of both the great work the high school students and the biology teachers are doing, but also that an indicator that our leveling up is working. So we'll go into much more detail, but that's just a preview about what's coming up. Katie, how about you come up and tell us a couple of things at Muddy Brook, and then Miles will do the same at Du Bois, and then you can tell us that on everything that's fun and challenging at the high school.
Sounds good. She got her mouth full right now. It's my turn. So we had a very successful open house, last week. We're, well on our way to finishing probably by next Wednesday, our first round of benchmark assessments, which is our first group of quick dips that we do with all the kids to know where they start from and what kinds of interventions we have in place or need in place. We had a great PD yesterday. We went over our panorama data in the area of growth mindset. And the kids reported a little bit of a decrease last year. Our third and fourth graders repeat a little decrease in growth mindset, and we unpacked that a little bit and came up with some ideas of how to make things a little bit better. It happens to coincide with the first unit of our second steps, which is our SEL program. We have reorganized the morning a little bit differently. We have, we'll have 4 days of programming where the kiddos can either go in the library or they can join some offerings, which is where chess will be. And also we have, I think it's history, a Spanish club, and 2 others. I'm drawing a blank on what the 2 others are. So in the morning, they could pop out to be part of that group on the days that it's offered. And we reorganized recess a little bit, and especially our 4th graders are not very happy about the change. But they're gonna be, one of the student voice activities we're doing this year is having them be part of the recess planning. So hopefully they'll turn their angst into good ideas. But that's about it from Muddy Brook.
Okay. Thanks.
So we had our open house meet the teams night this past week as well. And we didn't get a good count, but the cafeteria was pretty full. I'm very pleased with the turnout. I gave a little bit more information than I usually do around the shift that we're doing this year to proficiency-based reporting. About half of the staff is actually going to be giving feedback in terms of beginning, approaching, meeting, and exceeding. And so I gave a little bit extra information in my presentation about what that means and what our report cards are going to look like. And I asked Joshua Briggs, a good friend of the school, to record that, so I'll be able to post that online towards the end of the week in English and in Spanish, so that folks who missed that will still know what's coming up on their report cards, and that was really great. Our teams did a phenomenal job, as usual, showcasing the school, and it was really a good night. The other thing that's really great right now is clubs are starting to get underway and get moving. I've been announcing the past couple of days the organization of our student council under the leadership of Carol Arberdale and Kathleen Gillis. So once they get organized, we will hopefully have elected some student representatives from the middle school to join us here. But our library club is getting started. A kid came to talk to me today about a pickup volleyball club. And so students are really engaging with starting clubs, and either through or kind of parallel alongside of the after-school program, and that's really neat. And the only other thing I want to mention right now is that the One School, One Story project has really breathed a lot of life into kind of summer reading. We've done community meetings with Kahoot kind of quiz shows, and based on the performance of the kids in the Kahoots, pretty much everybody has read the book, which is, there were no questions that stumped pretty much anybody, and so that was really nice just to see that the students have really engaged and embraced the novel. So.
Can you just remind people of the book?
Yeah, the book we're reading is called Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus. Momentous Events is the sequel. And the story is about a girl who has to move from Nebraska to Arizona. And there's a kind of a mystery about, there's this connection that she has to Arizona that she doesn't know because of a little bit of mysterious history. And she goes through all these typical challenges of assimilating at a new school in middle school, that she happens to be an individual who was born without arms, and so has that added level of challenge to navigate. Her, her disability is not the focus of the story, but it really opens up a conversation for middle school students about the challenges that everybody is dealing with and how does everybody express their differences, work through their challenges in different ways. It's been a really well-received book by the kids because the focus is really on the mystery and the actions of the character, not the disability of the character.
Great.
And the author is coming.
Oh, I should mention that, yes. Dusty Bowling, the author, is coming to do some feedback sessions and discussions with our students. We are actually going to be doing some of the detailed agenda planning of her visit in the next week. We hope to be able to invite community to that as well, just to open up the event to everybody.
A couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the proficiency-based grading, is there a direct alignment and tie-in to the way the grading is being handled at the high school?
Yeah, so we actually made sure last year, the administration worked to make sure that the words we're using in terms of beginning, approaching, meeting, exceeding are going to be the same words that we're using for feedback. And I know, I don't want to, I wish Christy were here to vouch for, but I know that some high school teachers are starting to give feedback in that way, kind of piloting in the way that middle school teachers were piloting last year. And this year we're at about half and half. But it's the same. There shouldn't be much daylight in between the way that feedback is received.
And I guess my other question is, if the recording that you did of your event, and if the one school, one book thing proves to be successful, is that something that there's appetite to roll out to the other schools in the district? Because those both seem like possibly good best practices.
Yeah, I don't think my fingers are crossed for these two videos to be wonderful, and it's like a starting point for us to join the 20th century, not even the 21st or whatever. Yeah, so hopefully they work great, and then we'll do more of it. Obviously, with our communications discussion, we're really text heavy, and that's our comfort zone, and video and smaller chunks of things I think could make a big difference. Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
So for the high school, kind of like what Mr. Reed was saying, like clubs and sports are really just getting started back up again, and we're getting a lot of new freshmen in joining. And SOB especially is really getting rolling, and we have the SOB retreat to Camp High Rock next week.
Great.
Which I think quite a few students will be attending, like last year. And however, one challenging thing is we've been having some sewage problems in the girls' bathroom, and it's entirely flooded and flooded into the library. So the library was shut down today. That was not ideal, but everything else with clubs and sports is doing well, just besides that.
Okay, great. Steve, do you want to add anything about sort of the plan that you're in the middle of to fix it?
Sorry, fixed. It hasn't cleaned up by now.
Oh, it's fixed and cleaned up, done.
Done.
Okay, great.
What happened?
One of the drain lines going out of the building was clogged, like solidly. So we unplugged it, cleaned, and clear everything up.
Great, thanks. That's very nice. Okay, anything else for high school?
Not that I can think of.
That's totally good.
Miss Farina was here to share things from an
Yeah, she-
administrator's point of view.
Yeah, she had a family thing, so that's why she couldn't be here. All right, so let's move along. So the next thing I wanted to do, and Beth, you could come up as I'm introducing you, but Beth Cook is a longtime science teacher, biology teacher in the district at the high school, and she's our newest or only instructional coach. And I thought, sort of, we're going through a range of introductions, and some of the other people were brand new to the district. Beth is longstanding in the district, but I thought she could talk a little bit about her new role and what she's excited to be working on.
Yeah, so I was hoping to be at the last meeting. I had pneumonia, I still have pneumonia, so my coughing is just part of me now and will forever live with me. I had someone from the basement on Tuesday come up to the office to see if I was okay because she could hear me coughing from the basement here. And I was like, what else can she hear? So, but it was really nice that they can hear, they can hear you from the basement if you're coughing. So first I would just say it's been like a real honor and privilege to be in this position after teaching for 17 years, to actually be able to be in all three of the buildings for the past 3 weeks has been an amazing learning experience for me. So part of the work that I'm doing this month in particular is just getting into teachers' classrooms and really getting a greater context for what's happening with teaching and learning from pre-K all the way through 12. So I spent a lot of time at the different buildings. I'm gaining an appreciation for the difficulty in actually being in 3 different buildings throughout the day, but really just trying to get a greater context for what's going on in all 3 buildings. Even though we're one district, they definitely have their own cultures and identities, and so understanding and appreciating those differences, and then also trying to figure out like where they all sort of become unified and where we see like common strengths and then opportunities for specific needs for teachers and teacher groups. So at the middle school specifically, I'm working with teams of teachers in math and science, using our district-wide practice of working with Research for Better Teaching, which all the instructional leads were trained this summer on, which really centers looking at student work and student data from students to make really informed, specific, targeted decisions on instruction in the classroom. So that's something that I'm working on with teams of teachers at the middle school, but also I'm hoping to utilize that same process in more individualized teacher, like one-on-one or small group meetings with teachers. And my hope is that through kind of doing this learning about, going into people's classrooms. Peter mentioned looking at the MCAS data that was just released. I was able to look at that, but wasn't able to see like the state data or our data in relation to anybody else until the other day. So I'm slowly started at the middle school and sort of working my way up and down to see some common trends, if I can find them. And there's like a real desire on behalf of the teachers to be working in small teams, to be working with one another to try to improve instruction. So that's really great. And then the hope is that in the next couple of months, working with Colin, Director of Learning and Teaching, to start to really formulate what does instructional coaching look like at Berkshire Hills, and utilizing all of the structures that are currently in place, maybe thinking about ways in which we can shift some of those structures to make it more helpful for teachers, working with the building principals, all of that. So my hope is that in the next couple of months that I have like a really solid pilot after taking into account what teachers' needs are, what I'm seeing myself in classrooms, what students' needs are. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But it's been as a teacher, but then also as a parent, just being able to I have a 5-year-old son, so going into the elementary school, it's really hard not to think of my own child, and it's just been like a very, very awesome experience to be able to go into all these different classrooms, and I think it would be amazing to let other teachers have that opportunity, because this is my 17th year, and this is the first time I've ever been into all of these different classrooms, pre-K to 12, so.
That's great.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you had a question.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Come back. Yeah, I'm really excited about both the position and Beth being in the position, and I think they're great things to come there. So the next one, and I'm sorry about this, you're gonna have to listen to me a little bit longer. I thought Matthew Snyder was gonna come, and he's our strings teacher in the district, K to, or not K, but across all 3 buildings. So I'm gonna do my best to pinch hit for him, and if he comes in, then I'll have him add some to it. So what I am talking about is, and I just want to pull up something to help remind me of this. We're proposing to make a little shift in how we're doing music instruction, and historically, strings or violins started in 3rd grade, and then the band would start in 4th grade. And we've made some shifts over the years in music in all different directions. And what he recommended, along with the other music teachers, to both Katie and I, for a variety of reasons, was to start strings not in 3rd grade, but to start it in 4th grade. And I'm going to try to sort of share his argument for that and hopefully get your blessing on it. And there are lots of pieces to it. And the good news is we're actually going to give students much more time than they previously had. So the couple reasons are, they think it's important to start band and strings at the same time. So we're not privileging one over the other and having kids pick one, rent or buy an instrument, and then a year later decide they didn't really want to do strings, they wanted to do the trombone or trumpet or something and move over. The second argument he made to me was one around sort of dexterity, finger strength, coordination, and other things. And while we had some success with kids starting in 3rd grade, a year of development makes it easier and less frustrating for them to learn and grow. And then the third reason, and this may be the most compelling of all, is around time. So the way the structure was previously, and Katie, correct me if I'm off on this a little bit, but 3rd graders in strings just got a half hour a week in strings instruction, and that was like just enough to get a taste, but mostly enough to make them really frustrated. So what he's proposing is, by juggling the schedule around, he can triple the amount of instructional time from half an hour a week to an hour and a half a week, and add ensembles for the 4th grade. And then in grades 5 to 8, he can double the amount of instructional time in strings. So I think this is a big win, and I rarely say something's a no-brainer, but starting a year later, but tripling the time, plus having ensembles, and then doubling the time for the 5th and 8th graders is just going to build a much stronger foundation for music instruction. So I really support it. And I appreciate that though some of the music teachers are new to us, they come to the district with significant experience, and they were able to propose this in a way that's more thoughtful than what we've been doing. Katie, did I miss anything on that?
No, I think you're good.
Any questions or concerns, comments?
Is this something we're gonna vote on?
We are gonna give our support to it.
Sure, I make a motion to endorse the proposal set forth by Dr. Dillon regarding the music program.
Second motion. So a motion and a second discussion. Cory.
Not super specifically related to this, but as a kind of ancillary question, do we have programs in place to make sure that costs are,
Not a
it's not a
barrier to
barrier,
participation.
exactly, yeah.
We do, so that there are a number of instruments in each building that are district owned, often from previous students who stepped away and donated them, that we can lend to students in need. And then we have some resources available in each building to supplement rentals if needed. The high school has the longstanding Joe Spartan Fund that we could use too. I think we've got it pretty well covered, but probably every couple of years we should do another call for community donations. There are a lot of instruments gathering dust in people's attics, and those would be a good use.
And I guess also making sure that it's communicated to families, so it's not, the onus isn't on the family to raise their hand and say that they need it, but that they know it exists and it's there.
Yeah, so I think that's something, in particularly addressing this to Miles and Katie. Let's put that as a regular standing note in the WAG. I mean, for the balance of the year, right? The week at a glance. I think that's a good thing, and we can remind families of that. Anyone else?
I think Corey stepped out of the subject matter, so I'll raise something that I've raised multiple times over the last 10 years. Directly administration is, I think we have an equity problem in our music department, it's gender equity. I understand there's one girl in my school band right now. I think, and that may be exaggeration because the one girl complains to me at dinner every night that she's the only girl in the band. But it's been over now 3 or 4 different instructors. Anyone who's been consistently on a band in orchestra performance at the high school, there's both a number of participants and their roles within the program. I think there's been a gender equity problem.
Yeah, and it's probably reversed, though not as obvious as that. I think historically the chorus has been top heavy with young women. And strings might actually have more women than or young women than young men. Yeah, so it's worth.
It's both participation, leadership roles, features, everything.
Yeah, it's, I mean, one of the things we'll do on the 5th, when we look at all our data, is we'll cut it in all these disaggregated ways. So by gender, by race and ethnicity, by income, and by special needs. And it's a good reminder that we need to continue to do that in all our activities.
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, what's happening in the music program from like K through 3?
Kate, can you talk a little bit about sort of general music and how Kim teaches music in your building? And come up to the thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Wouldn't mind.
So, each of the kids, pre-K through 4, have a traditional general music class with Kim. But also once a week, they have a class gathering where they're all in the music room together, and that's called Books and Songs. So that's where she does her, like choral work with each of the grade levels to prepare for like a concert. That's relatively new this year, but it was called All Sing in the past. But the librarians join her, so it's become Books and Songs. But that's how it, right, and it involves all kinds of instruments. They've got keyboards, they've got the 5-gallon bucket drums. They have, I don't even know what they're called, but you drop them and then have a tone. It's like a tube sort of thing, so there's early music with that. So,
Anyone else? Okay, motion and a second, roll call vote, Bill? Aye. Ann?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Donnie?
Aye.
Sarah? Bill?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Cory?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And I vote aye, it's unanimous.
Great, well, thank you for that. In the packet, and so like now I'm the superintendent of litigation, only I'm not being sued, I'm joining other people's suits.
You get to sometimes.
Yeah. Jinx myself. The group we worked with on the Jewel thing, oh, he's here, so.
You did a good job.
Sorry, so,
I'm so sorry.
no, thanks for coming. I presented it and they unanimously approved it, so we're in great shape. Do you just because you're here and I'm psyched you're here, do you just want to take a second, like come up and sit at the table?
Sure.
Just introduce yourself and
If you'd like to see this, I can give you
perusal. And you don't have to go through it all again, because I explained it to them, but just like, take 2 minutes to tell people why you're psyched about it.
Okay, what I'm really excited about is increased teaching time. At the fourth grade, we are going to triple our time with the students from 30 minutes a week to 90 minutes a week. At fifth grade, same thing, tripling lesson time. Sixth grade through eighth grade is doubling lesson time by having ensemble class every day. And high school is unchanged, but the band and orchestra will be at the same time of day. So what this does is allows us to both serve the students better by having more teacher time with them, but also the building administration can coordinate with one another. You know, they know at this time, this is performance music in this building. It was different in each building every day, which made it really difficult last year to coordinate together. So I think it'll just streamline things a lot, but I'm particularly excited about the elementary and the middle school, because this is when we build the program, right? You know, and the first 2 years will really come out strong. I'm seeing it already, like, just in the 4 weeks. It's really tremendous, so.
Cool. Any more specific questions that you wanted to answer before, but you knew I wouldn't know the answer to?
So just time-wise, last year it was a half hour for third grade, and the fourth grade was still only a half hour.
Correct.
So now.
And there was no performance group, so they're gonna have a band and an orchestra ensemble that they didn't have last year. As part of that, the 45 minutes at that time was an ensemble, 45 in lesson per instrument. If you can imagine, I taught 10 grades last year. I had 56 third graders, 56 8-year-olds for half an hour. They come in 10 minutes late, you know, get everybody with their instrument ready to go. Time to go, you know, like, it was, they need more support. The younger they are, the more support they need, you know. So I think also with band instruments, we'd like to start the two programs together. Rather than lopsided, band instruments don't come in fractional sizes. So the trombone that you see at Tango was the same one the 8-year-olds holding, you know, the giant explorer. You know, right, you know, so Jake and I both thought this would be a better start for the maturation level to start them in fourth grade.
I'm just curious, how many kids pursue music instruments outside of school?
Very few. That may change. COVID really hit it hard, you know, a lot of kids stopped. So we're really rebuilding. And,
That was something that helped build up all of that programming, was that there were a lot of parents involved in getting their kids started early.
Right. I'm seeing, unfortunately, very little of that. But a few parents are expressing interest. Yeah, I think it'll take, I envision it as a five-year plan. Like after 5 years, we'll really see, it'll be really obvious, the growth, you know. You'll see it along the way, but I think after 5, it's really gonna be strong.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
And you're so sorry, I thought it was 6:30.
Yeah,
I apologize.
And congratulations, because they voted
I-
unanimously. You gave me good talking points.
Thank you. Jake and I both really appreciate the support.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're trying.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
So going back to the lawsuit, so we did one on the Jewel thing, and we got a little settlement. This is a similar one. This one's on social media. I think it makes sense. It'll likely free up some resources for us to do some things to work on this, which is connected to our electronics and our and our other piece. So I'm happy to respond to any questions, but my ask is to join the suit on behalf of the district.
Do I have a motion?
Before any motions made, I'm recusing myself from this line item.
Thank you. Have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the suit, to join it, not to approve the suit, to
Right.
join the suit.
Do I have a second? Second. So,
My question is, what did we get from the Jewel suit? Did we get a financial, did we get something?
We did.
Undisclosed?
What?
Was it undisclosed?
No.
No, I know what it is. I just don't remember exactly. It's somewhere between like $3,000 and $2,800. It's not a lot of money. There's a whole complex formula, and it was tied to the number of students. I think the New York City Public Schools got 7 million, and little districts like us got $2,850 and 27 cents or something.
any other questions? So it's a roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Bonnie?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Bill?
Yes.
Diane? Thank you.
Yes.
Corey? And I, so it's unanimous with one recusal.
So the next one is MASC, the Association of School Committees, reached out to us and to you, and are requesting help on two things. One is a letter, and one is a proposed resolution. Should I read the letter?
Yes.
Okay, so let me do that. So this is a draft letter coming from me on behalf of the school committee. So in July 2022, the Commission on the Fiscal Health of Rural School Districts published a thorough report highlighting its findings on the acute and growing needs of rural schools. In recent years, many of these school districts have found themselves in a self-reinforcing downward cycle of declining enrollment, reduced funding, and diminished ability to offer high-quality educational experiences to their students. They have also struggled to hire qualified staff, particularly in the area of special education. These districts typically face disproportionately high transportation costs and are supported by small towns with very limited tax bases. H 3567, an act to provide a sustainable future for rural schools, directly addresses many of these findings in the report. In addition to establishing targeted funding for these districts, this bill and its companion Senate 2388 would provide tools for improving efficiency and increased support for regionalization. Furthermore, it contains provisions that would benefit all public school districts across the Commonwealth by advancing programs to build the pipeline of special education teachers, providing increased reimbursement for out-of-district placements, and establishing a much-needed special education financing legislative commission to review how special education is currently financed and make recommendations for a more equitable system. As local officials who deal in matters of school funding and who value equitable and high-quality public education, we urge you to grant a hearing for this bill as soon as possible and to offer your strongest support for its passage. Thank you for your time and service.
Any comments?
Is there opposition to this? Probably. That we're aware of?
Not
Urban school districts that would fight it?
No, I think the opposition is not to this, some notion of how big is the pot, and if the pot's not bottomless, then who's getting shorted to somebody else's benefit?
The same political argument every time we try to get money, that, you know, they places with the most voters get the most amount of money,
Right.
and we get, sometimes the smaller ones get what's left over.
So I will say, I support this, and I'm gonna vote for it, but within the context of what they use to distribute the rural aid, I don't know that our district and our particular demographics even do well within that.
Well, it's interesting,
I
right?
think we should get more of this little piece of the pie they're trying to expand. I don't think our piece of that pie is fair either.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting thing, so I went into the real granular formula on this, and last year somebody ran the numbers, and we were excluded from all rural aid because they thought our per capita income pushed us over the top. But they made a technical error and ran a number that I caught that got them to recalculate it for the whole state. But we're coming up on the threshold where in 5 or 10 years, we may yeah, I forget the exact term, but our collective incomes may be too high to still get it, and more money may go to other parts of Berkshire County or Franklin County, which is really struggling. So, yeah, no, I share your concerns, and I think it's worth them calculating it again.
Yeah.
Right, or having a better formula. And then the accompanying one to this is a resolution. And that one, I actually have a place for everybody to sign it. So if you're supportive of that, you can sign that individually.
So let's have a motion to endorse the letter and the resolution.
So moved.
So a motion, it's easy, motion by Bill, second by Bill, different order than the last one, but same idea. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Bill.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Bill.
Yes.
Diane.
Yes.
Corey.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous.
Okay, so I
Do you want me to
think,
start signing and just pass it around? Or no?
yeah, I think that's great. There are two percentages I did want to share. So in the resolution, districts with very small or low student enrollments cost 16.7% more to operate than the state average. And small K-12 regional school districts cost 22.7% more to operate than, I think this is the original one. Let me send this one around.
Gotcha.
Okay, sorry. So unsign that or tear it up. And so the small regionals cost 22.7% more than the state average. So it's interesting. Okay, thanks on that.
Is the blue pen okay?
And I think blue pen's preferred.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I only order blue pens. So the next one is the update on where we are at the MSBA. So in your packet is an approval letter from the MSBA on our owner's project manager selection. All right, so we went through our process, we recommended it. Steve Bannon, Steve Soul, and I participated in this. Our recommendation was to select Skanska as the owner's project manager, and we did that, and they approved us doing that. We've got a meeting coming up with Skanska and the building committee. And let me just, Steve, do you have it in front of you what the date is?
September 27th.
Okay, September 27th. at 5:30, and it's here. And while often those meetings are remote or hybrid, when we talked with Skanska, we felt, at least for this first one, it was important to try to get everybody in the same room together to meet face to face. So I'll poll people again, but it looks like most, if not all, people will actually physically be here. And I think that's preferred. And if I can't get everybody here, I may open it up for a few people to participate hybrid, but I'd really like to try to get people here.
And just to be,
What's the
27, just to be clear, are you opening it up for the public to participate by Zoom, even though you're encouraging the members to be here?
They don't take public comment at building committees anyways, right?
What's that?
Building committee doesn't take public comment.
I have nothing to do with public comment.
Oh, just they can watch?
Just so that they can watch, more people exposed to what we're doing.
I agree.
Yeah,
That's all.
I take that advice and we'll do that. Yeah, I hadn't considered that, but that's good. So the letters there, it explains that,
Can I have a suggestion?
yeah,
Maybe could all the agendas or notices for the building committee going forward be circulated to the school committee as well, just so we always can see what, for those who aren't on it, you know, I certainly not gonna go to all of them, there's, depending on what's on there, I may wanna go to some of them.
yeah, so what I'll do is
Or
have.
people don't want it, they can opt out, but I.
Right, and just be careful when you read your emails, so don't make people crazy. I'm gonna use the CC very deliberately, so if it's to you,
Go to me.
go to the meeting. If it's CC to you, it's for your information.
I think that's great, yeah.
Okay?
Can we go to the meetings though, or not, on the?
Yeah,
Meetings are public.
yeah,
Public meeting.
Yeah.
you know, sit at the table, yes.
They're posted anyway, so it's not a quorum issue.
No, they're posted.
Right.
And if you're sitting in the audience, I suppose, and don't participate, then the quorum isn't a problem anyway.
I think so. Okay, cool, so that's good. The regional school district planning board, so, I was in several meetings with various parts of that regional school district planning board today. It looks like the October 23rd, town meetings are likely to happen in several of the 8-member towns, actually on the 23rd. And some maybe the day before or the day after. One of the tensions is, in the 8 towns, several of the towns share, legal counsel. And it might not be possible to have all 8 meetings on the same day covered appropriately by every town council.
And I made a whole list of things. I mean, if we want someone from the regional school district planning board there, specifically Jake and Lucy, they can't be divided into 8 ways for 2 people.
Right.
You know, some of the places may have their town meeting all in the same spot. So there's just a whole bunch of reasons but they're doing their best to get Sheffield and Great Barrington, the 2 biggest towns, on the same night. And hopefully the others will be able to.
So Great Barrington is definitely on the 23rd.
Yes.
That's voted, that's not, that's,
The warrant has not been voted on yet, but it will be next week.
what about Stockbridge, West Stockbridge?
I think my understanding is the folks from the regional school district planning board are reaching out to all of them to finalize dates now.
With all the technology that we have, I don't know, Steve, because you're more in tune with town government laws. Why can't these people on this board be on a Zoom thing where then towns can call in if there's a question? So,
But if the meeting is, all the meetings are at 6 o'clock,
yeah,
they would need 6 different Zoom abilities. It just would not work out.
shows you my technical infinity.
No, it's just, it hurts my head thinking about it.
We're all well aware of your technical stuff.
And that group, the regional school district planning board is, there's more on their website than you could possibly imagine. And they're working together to put together reminders and links and a very simple 4-page like column fact about what happens in this area if a boat goes through, what happens if a boat doesn't go through, detailing it all in a way that's meant to be digestible, because the draft regional agreement is something like 40 pages, right? So that's a heavy lift for the average person to read, digest, and make sense of, so they're trying to do some of that work. So I'll keep you updated on it, and it's not that far away.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's good. We have a second reading of the bullying prevention policy.
Which means it's one that we would vote on.
Correct, and this was, and we've seen this a couple times, and this is the one that said two minor changes, or one was viable was taken out, obligated was changed to encouraged, and 14 days was generalized to promptly. So I recommend.
Motion to enact the revised bullying policy.
So moved. So I have a motion by Rich, a second by Bill, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Bill. Aye. Ann.
Aye.
Jason.
Aye.
Bonnie.
Aye.
Sarah. Bill.
Aye.
Diane.
Yes.
Cory.
Aye.
And I, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
So moving ahead, buildings and grounds, Jason.
Yes, we met Monday. Basically, Steve Soul led us through updates for the 3 different buildings and campus. Regarding the high school, we'll do, on top of all the usual stuff of getting school back up in order, some new paving sections of the driveway where the potholes really bad were done. Arrows were painted at the entrance and to hopefully help people enter and exit better with the 4 different lanes there. The greenhouse barn is aging and has some foundation problems and it's outlived its life cycle. So Steve Soul has basically cleaned that out, and we're gonna go ahead and demo that because it's gonna possibly be a safety hazard, and think about putting up like a metal structure there. But he's gonna have that in the budget, right, I'm assuming, and so that's there. As far as the driving or lack thereof off of the approved paved roads, that seems to be going well. Steve again put up a lot of no parking signs, and again, the big thing was where the tennis courts are, there's a couple of entrances and exits there. It's a busy Route 7, and we really thought that was a safety hazard, so he's blocked those off, as well as being able to drive down to the baseball field and where the JV soccer fields have gone. We're moving forward, we want to make sure that people who have limited physical abilities to get down there, you know, there's a way for grandparents and stuff to be able to drive down there if they have, you know, handicap placards. So we're, you know, moving forward, that we're cognizant of that and making sure that happens. But again, you know, safety is number one, and that's, you know, why we did it. The other thing is we have newly installed vape detectors at the high school, and those have been working very well. And so far, I think there are quite a few bathrooms and not all of them, and we're gonna, in the process of.
Sure, paper than that working on.
Yeah, that's true. Do we have a lawsuit against vapes? Yeah, I forgot.
No,
That'll be the next one.
2850.
Yeah. Good, okay, excellent. So that's good. Middle school, smooth opening. Without having Project Connection there, things were much easier to prepare for the school year, and really, I mean, you know, for these schools to last, we really need a summer off without anyone there to just keep it up to snuff. So the new system where next year, the elementary school will be mostly empty, and Project Connection, what's it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be at the middle school, then we can do the same thing at the elementary school. So I think going back and forth really is gonna work well and save the buildings in the long run. The high school, it's minimal use, and they're not as hard on the buildings as younger kids are, so that's not a problem at all. I'll skip the road for now to join that with elementary school. Elementary school, I'm sorry, back to the middle school, heating and cooling update, as you know, we've been switching the heat pumps over to a new system because the other one is outdated, and that's basically almost all done, so that's finished, which is a good thing. Elementary school, fire alarms are still on a copper line, it's one of the last kind of copper regular phone lines, and that's, we're switching to cell, which is more reliable, and all the other alarms, the sewer alarms, the other schools are doing that, so we're gonna be switching that, and that'll be the last, unreliable copper line we have on the district, going for good. There were a couple little heating and cooling issues, that I guess are resolved now the first week, to be expected in these big buildings. The chiller, which is the air conditioner, we have 2 units, one of them has been on the fritz for a year or so, and we finally, that's engineer, signed off, he's ready and waiting, we're gonna go ahead and that should be a go. The last thing was, the Monument Valley Road update for both schools. I know this has been a thorn in my side, Rich's side, since, the last 10 years, as far as the dangers.
I think I've been a thorn in your side.
Well, rightly so. Not an easy solution, because there's lack of parking and the drop off and pick up at both those schools, there's a real hazard, on Monument Valley Road with cars parking on the side, backups, people waiting there, there have been accidents there in the past, fortunately not in the last few years, but, the town of Great Barrington is gonna be paving next year, hopefully, Monument Valley Road, so I know we're meeting with Joe Avila next week to discuss, possibly putting in some more paving on the sides of those roads for maybe teacher parking and, working with him as far as no parking signs or what, come up with a plan that's gonna alleviate, as much as we can, any possible, danger, areas on that road. So, the Building and Grounds Committee is gonna be meeting with, Steve after he meets with Joe, and, really looking hard into that and kind of coordinating, whatever plan we have in the future with the new paving that's gonna be done next year.
And just one thing to piggyback on that, as an outcome of your meeting, Steve, Miles and I met, and early next week, or maybe Friday, we're gonna message some shifts to drop off at the Du Bois, drop off and pick up at the Du Bois building, to try to get more cars off of Monument Valley Road and into our own internal driveway, to make it easier for traffic in that whole area. So yeah, go ahead, Miles.
I expect to send that message actually a week from tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm a little early. That's why I'm being vague. Right.
I think, and Steve, you and Joe and, the engineer are gonna meet at like when the traffic is there, like 2:30.
2:30 Wednesday afternoon.
So you're gonna see reality.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. Joe and the engineers haven't.
Right.
Yeah, unless you go there, you can't.
I would miss some bigger kids here.
Yeah.
Okay, great, well, thanks. That sounded like a really productive meeting.
Yeah, it
was. It's a good committee.
Superintendent evaluation, not that. Technology subcommittee, does not match. Finance subcommittee.
We did meet, obviously fully into our budget planning session. We did our review of the elementary school and the special education budgets, which were both really great presentations. Quick highlights, in terms of potential budget impacts, the projected numbers for EK and PK and shifts in those may result in creation of another classroom and another full-time position. So that may be something you may see in the budget. But that's to be determined. I think the investments that we made in the math curriculum last budget cycle, we'll see more of those investments continuing going forward. Those are the kind of budgetary highlights, but overall, the presentations were really, really good and really comprehensive.
Okay, moving ahead.
Oh, and just one thing connected to the finance subcommittee, in your packet is a little calendar of the budget timeline. So this was the thing we talked about last meeting. So you can use this to mark your mark your calendar, and things always we never know where we're gonna land in February and March, and whether it gets complicated, we need another meeting, or it's fairly straightforward, and we end the budget
Well,
process.
the schedule for the next month or so, we'll stick to, so if you like want us, the high school thing, come to the next one, you know, that'll be.
It's easier to schedule a couple meetings at the end and cancel them than to try to come up with a date for everyone if we need it. We haven't needed it in the last few years, but you never know.
Are there easy ways for the public to access these as well? Because I know Erica had difficulties, I feel like last year. when she wanted to-
The problem, they're posted with a Google link instead of a Zoom link, and,
Going forward, it's gonna be so.
okay, yes. What has happened in the past is, we often meet before the school committee meeting, and people log on to the school committee link instead of that one, so, but it'll always still be a separate link, but even on Zoom, so.
Anyone else? Personnel report?
Yeah, nothing, nothing really dramatic. There is one thing I did want to mention. We had some sad news this past week. Irene Yocher, one of our paraprofessionals at the middle school, sadly passed away. So we're thinking of her and her family, and really appreciated the time she spent with us and with our students. So that's a big loss. In comparison, the other things this is a very relatively short one, and the other things are minor. The only other one that I think I mentioned last meeting, Audrey Console, who was a paraprofessional, who has a master's degree and is working on another, has stepped into the role of a special education teacher at the middle school. So we're excited to welcome her to that new role. And she's the second paraprofessional this year who's in a teaching position. The other one is Bethlehem Young Taft, who had been a paraprofessional at the elementary school and is now one of the two teachers in the Mountainside preschool program at the high school along with Jack Levy. So I'm really excited about both of those.
Thank you. Any old or new business? Any public comment?
So, and again, the public, feel free to raise your hand, and we're happy to recognize you.
Saying none, unanimous consent, we are adjourned. Thank you.